everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner, and today I have a slightly different video for you. There have been a series of videos going around on various channels around how long it takes to create content for your channel, particularly for Booktube, and I saw this initially on Julie H's channel, and I'll leave her link down below. She had seen it on Sam from Thoughts on Tomes channel and someone else's channel, I can't remember, I'll leave that link down below as well. And I think everyone's interpreted this in a slightly different way. It's not quite a tag, it's more a discussion around how, as content creators, we spend our time preparing and creating and then sharing all of these videos that we do with you. And I think it's a really interesting discussion. I think it's really personal depending on what you're doing with your channel anyway. So this video is going to be my process, my thoughts, the amount of time that I put into it. This is not a full-time thing for me. I don't get paid to run my channel. I'm not monetized or anything like that. So this is purely a hobby. That's almost like a part-time job on top of my full-time job. I think it's still interesting. And I want to preface this video with saying that I don't feel any resentment for the amount of time that I put into my channel because I love doing it. When I was running some of the numbers, it's a lot, but it's actually time that I really enjoy spending on this particular hobby. All right, so I know in Julie's video, she was talking about how long it takes per video. I'm actually going to talk about the entire process. I tend to batch film for a week and then I spend a week preparing everything to be shared with you guys. So I'm just going to talk about it in terms of weekly totals, because that just makes more sense for me. A big part of this channel is my reading time. So whether or not you want to count that as actual time spent towards creating content, but I mean, what I'm reading forms a lot of the content on this channel. I typically read around 3 hours a day. It's usually after work, somewhere between 7 and midnight because I'm a night owl. I can have those 3 hours in a block because I don't have to manage kids or a partner or extracurricular things that happen at nighttime. So while I don't necessarily read every single day for 3 hours, typically I would spend about that much time reading, and I can get through a book a day if I'm working with that model. So that works out to approximately 21 hours of reading every week. And I physically read books. I struggle with listening to audiobooks, so this is all just physical reading with my eyes. I spend a reasonable amount of time a week trying to watch Booktube, not as much as I used to. I tend to catch up now on weekends. Typically, I could say I watch maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half a day, usually while I'm preparing dinner and eating dinner nighttime before I turn everything off and sit down and read. I also watch everyone on 2x speed because otherwise I'd never get through everyone's videos. And I like doing that because it's a great way to see what people are talking about, great way to find out about new books, but also to see what sort of things are happening in the book community and to get ideas for videos. In the case of this one, this came from the discussion that I saw on someone else's channel. So it does sort of count as that research side to running a Booktube channel. Okay, in terms of preparing for videos, it depends what I'm doing. So I have my calendar for the rest of 2021 with post-it notes with video ideas, and this idea I totally stole from Heather from HEA Booktubes, and I'll leave her link down below. She does this so that she can move around her videos to whenever best suits, so this means that nothing's ever locked in. There was some color coordination going on with these post-it notes initially, but I think I lost it about halfway through setting this up. I have most of my videos, or most of my regular videos, already mapped out for the rest of the year, and that document sort of ends up in all sorts of places around my apartment. And sometimes if I am watching TV or I'm just sitting at the table, I might check it, but I don't spend heaps of time going through that particular document. It might be a minute or two every now and then just to check and see what I've got coming up. I also have my reading spreadsheet, which you guys have seen. I'll leave a link to the video for that up on the screen. That I spend a couple of minutes every day updating, usually as soon as I finish a book, just so it's all fresh in my mind. It's especially useful because I track things like series name, author, characters in the book, tropes, content warnings, the sort of stuff that I'm going to talk about in my video. So if I put that all into the spreadsheet, then when it comes time to make my notes for videos, it's all there. I don't have to go back and start scrolling through everything to find all of those details that I've probably forgotten. And then when it comes time to make my notes, what I use is Evernote, which is just an online notes organizer that you can sync across multiple devices. I've been using it for nearly 10 years, so it just made sense for me to use it for my YouTube content. I have recently changed up how I use it to track my video notes, and I'm actually going to insert a clip of the screen and I'm going to talk you through how that goes. So I'll do that in a moment. But ultimately that takes anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes per video, depending on what the video is and how detailed I need my notes to be. I don't script my videos, I work better off notes. Occasionally for a Books Beside My Bed video, I might write a really brief summary of the story, but I very rarely actually read that summary out loud. It's more there just to jog my memory when I'm staring at the camera and my mind has gone blank. So I'm going to insert the clip of Evernote for you now, and then I'll talk about how I then translate that into filming a video. Here's my Evernote setup. So this is the homepage, which I don't really use. I spend most of my time here in the shortcuts. So you'll see that I have 3 novelty folders. The first one is quite literally just any reading notes, so things to do with read-alongs, TBRs, things that are more to do with me rather than any videos. Then I have my novelty videos, which this is the main landing page. This is where I do all of my notes for videos. And then the third folder is the posted videos. So all of these ones are everything that I've posted since the start of April, really, when I changed over my process. So the main folder that I spend time in here is the novelty videos, and you can see that I have a whole lot of notes listed here, some with dates, some without. I've put in things up to August, the things that I know I'm definitely going to be posting, and then anything that doesn't have a date at the start are ideas and things that are coming up, but I don't know when they're going to be scheduled yet. So typically in my notes, you can see this one is one that's going up at the end of July, so you're really getting a sneak preview here. Initially, I start off with the list of books, and depending on which video that I'm in, and I'll show you some of the finished ones a little bit later on, it might look a little bit different, but for this video I wanted to make sure that I had all the content warnings for the books that I read, because I read so many of them. So I had listed them with the title, the author, and then content warnings underneath, and this will just get copy and pasted into my description later on. I also have the timestamp, which as I'm editing a video, usually what I'll do is open up the notes. Let's see if I can clear that, and then I'll work alongside my videos. So you'll see my iMovie screen, and then I'll click into here whenever I get to a new section and add in the timestamp so that it's all ready to go and I don't have to find it later on. I also have my little opening paragraph description, and then these timestamps up here are for any cards that I need to schedule on the screen. So as I'm going through and editing, if I come across a comment that I've made that links back to a video, I will add it in, and this is just my reminder. And then when it comes time to upload my video, I just copy everything from here and throw it into YouTube. The little camera icon at the front tells me that I've filmed it, and then once it's uploaded and scheduled, I put a tick next to it and I drag it into the posted videos section. And you can see here, this is one of my books beside my bed videos. It has all my timestamps. It has all the links to the books, and then these are my notes, so the notes that I take. I have my weekly stats, and then I have title, author, if it's a prompt for a challenge, usually the character names, and then either a brief summary or some keywords that I need to remember. And that's pretty much how I use Evernote. So just to do a really quick demonstration, I'm literally about to upload this video, so this one will then get moved over here and will be out of my video queue and into my posted videos. Okay, so that was Evernote, and the really good thing about that is that now when I come to film, I basically sit here with Evernote open on my iPad, and this acts as my prompt when I'm filming. So if I ever look like I'm looking down, it's because I've double checked something that's on the screen. But this has made it really handy because it means I don't have to sit there with my laptop. It means I've got my notes really easily accessible. I could do it on my phone if I wanted to, but that screen's too small. I prefer using the iPad. I've found that this has been a really useful system because I used to actually write out the notes into a notebook and then use that. This saves a whole lot of time because usually my note-taking process is one and done. And then it's time to film, and I do usually do my makeup. For hair, I'm pretty basic. I usually brush my hair, not that it ever looks like it because my hair does what it wants, but I try and put on some makeup. That usually takes about 5-10 minutes. And because I batch film things, I usually only have to do that once a week. Of course, if I'm doing a vlog, you're very lucky if I end up in makeup. And if I am, it's usually because I've either had it on because I've been filming other things or because I've been at work and I haven't taken it off yet. But generally, my makeup process is pretty simple. If it takes more than 10 minutes, then something weird is going on. The next thing is setting up all of the equipment. I have 2 box lights, which are on either side of me, and depending on whether or not I've packed them up from the previous week, they can take about 10 minutes to set up. If they're already out, then that's fine. I just plug them in and they're ready to go. I generally don't leave them set up though because they are quite big and bulky and it's just easier to pack them away. I have a tripod that I set up. I use a Canon EOS 70D camera, which is what I'm filming on now. If I'm vlogging, I tend to vlog either on my phone, although currently my phone is full, so I can't use that for vlogging. In which case I use my Canon GX7, which has the little flip up screen. I just use whatever's going to be most easily accessible and most useful at the time. It also might take 5 to 10 minutes to gather up the physical books if I have them in a video. Depending on content, I might decide either to use the physical books if I own them, or I might just decide when in the editing process to add in the pictures on the screen. So I'll weigh up that usually on the day. And the actual filming time. So as I said before, I batch film. I typically film on Sundays. I usually film 3 videos in a row. That always includes a books beside my bed video and then whatever else is scheduled for the week. It typically takes me about an hour to film those 3 videos. As I said, I don't script and I generally run through on one take, mistakes and all. I found this system works really well for me. I've been doing this now for 5 years, so I know my own sort of process. In terms of editing, obviously it takes time to transfer the footage from my camera to my laptop. I use a MacBook Pro and it works really well for me, and I edit in iMovie because it's free. It came with the laptop and that's what I'm used to. I currently don't really have time to learn a new software. I would really like to learn something like Final Cut Pro or whatever is Adobe's equivalent, but I just physically don't have the time at the moment. So maybe one day in the future, but for now, iMovie works really well for me. For the actual physical editing of the videos, I do all of my edits in one go. I know some people go through and they take out all of the big gaps the first time and then they do a second pass where they do all the editing and they add in book covers and whatnot. I do it all on the first pass. For me, that works really well. I typically know where I've made errors, so I can do all my edits really quickly. I just find that that's a system that works well for me to create content and videos. So typically speaking, when I'm editing a video, the editing of the actual video takes about twice as long as the raw footage. So if a video is 20 minutes long, it takes about 40 minutes to edit it. If I'm well prepared, when I'm preparing my notes for the videos, I'll have already downloaded any book covers. Typically I don't, but it's a 30-second process to grab that offline and throw it into the video. And then the last process before this video gets uploaded is usually editing the thumbnail for the video. And that can take anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes depending on what I'm actually doing in the video. I do use Photoshop for that now. I did have to train myself how to use Photoshop because I never used to use it. Now that I have it, I use it and it's going really smoothly. I keep everything preset so that I can really quickly produce thumbnails during the week. And if I'm sensible, I do all the thumbnails at the same time. Sometimes I forget though and I do them after I edit each video. And then comes the uploading. Now this is a lot smoother than it used to be since I've changed up my internet. It used to take about 2 hours to upload a video. Now it takes anywhere between 10 minutes and 40 minutes depending on the length and the size of the video. As I'm uploading, I'm throwing in all of the description notes, which I usually do at the same time as typing up my notes for the video, which you'll have seen in Evernote. I add in things like the thumbnail and add it to any playlists. I add in my end screens now that you can do it while it's uploading. I add in any cards on the screen at the same time. Then I usually just schedule it and let it sit there. I try and subtitle most of my videos. I typically don't subtitle vlogs or the Sci Changeling videos because they are incredibly long. I may at some point go back and subtitle them, but at the moment I just don't have the time to do that. But I try and do anything else. That can take anywhere between 20 and 40 minutes. I typically do that at nighttime and it's after I finished reading and I might just throw on an old episode of something I've seen before and just sit there and subtitle before I go to bed. And then I guess the final part of it is the comments and the interaction that I have with my community members. I don't get huge numbers of comments on videos, so it doesn't typically take me a long time. I try to reply to comments within about 2 days. It just depends what's happening. I suppose the other thing to talk about is, despite the fact that I'm an Australian content creator, my videos are viewed predominantly by people in the US. So all of my uploading schedule is based around US times. What that sometimes means is that I can't get to the comments as quickly as possible because I'm probably asleep. And then I go straight to work and I won't get a chance until the next night to actually go in and check and see how everything's going. So that's also something to be aware of. But yes, that is basically how long it takes me to put content together. If you count the reading, there's a lot of hours in there, but I typically don't because reading is my therapy and the fact that I get to talk about it is just a bonus. I think it's a really interesting discussion, and if you are a content creator, I would be really interested in hearing your thoughts, or if you're planning on filming something like this as well. I'd love for you to link to it because I think it is an interesting discussion, and I think for a lot of us it is a passion project and something that we love doing. But I love having an outlet to talk to people, and it just happens to be a hobby that has a significant time fraction associated with it. All right, feel free to leave me your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear from either content creators or viewers, or if you want to let me know that you're here but you don't want to leave a comment, feel free to leave a video camera emoji since we're talking about creating videos. I hope that wherever you're in the world you're staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.